Trucking in Australia is all about people and relationships. This is the story about the relationship between the Volvo Group and CMV that started more than 45 years ago, with the relationship between two legends in the Australian transport industry.
Max Winkles was an icon in our industry, and we were all in awe of him because he, obviously through his background with originally Mack trucks and then being the initial importer for Volvo trucks, he was a legend.
They always respected me. In fact, I think they always called me Mr. Winkles when I think back to it. That was, as a truck driver and a boy, that was quite special.
Dad was the consummate sales guy. He knew that selling was all about building relationships and trust, and that's could be no truer than in the truck business.
I would have first met Jim around about 1948-49. He was, I think, still studying then, and he was in and out of the dealership, and he would make people feel they were the person he was concentrating on, which he did.
Although he wasn't really conservative by nature, he was conservative when it came to specifying the right vehicle for the right job, and I think that was hugely advantageous for CMV.
And then a little bit later on, about 2 years later, when we decided to appoint dealers around Australia for Volvo trucks, I approached Jim and he took on the Volvo truck franchise over here.
And it wasn't long before Volvo trucks started to populate the countryside. Starting with the legendary F86 and then going to the F88 and then the G88 and on from there.
We always ensured that our customers got a fair deal. But the one state we didn't touch was South Australia, because CMV were already doing what we wanted to do in our own dealerships when we established them. So we really modelled our business on CMV.
I think the acquisition of Volvo trucks was a perfect match for CMV. Volvo emulated so many of our own values, care for the individual, care for the environment. They were progressive, they were modern, and if you get those right, well then you're well on the way to having a successful enterprise.
I must say one of my proud moments was standing on the stage with Jim when we delivered the first government buses here in South Australia. I guess that was around about 1975, and when Jim started this project, he was convinced he was going to win, and I think at that time it was the largest bus order Volvo had in the world, actually. And Jim did all the local work, and I never thought it would come to fruition, but yeah, he got it done. It was fantastic.
Dad used to have a sign on his desk which said, "Don't come to me with questions, come to me with answers." And in a way, it's kind of a way of empowering staff to have the courage to think about the problem, but also think about the solution. And putting together Mack, UD and Volvo has been an interesting experience, but I think that's what I feel immensely proud of, that we've been able to make it and hold it and keep it, and also to be able to pass it on to the next generation.
Yeah, I know, because I have Volvo.
I really admire the way they've followed on from what their father set up in carrying on the same ethics of the company, and they continue their philosophy for doing business continues. I'd say let's go from strength to strength. The Crawford family have set a good example for most of us.
This new dealership is dedicated to the memory of my Grandpa Jim. Thank you for coming tonight.